Welcome in to the Alicia Shepherd Podcast. I'm excited to have you here because this is a place where powerhouse women and men, or whoever you are, come to level up, lock in, and lead with heart. I'm your host, Alicia Shepherd, and today we are throwing out the rule book that says we need calm waters, calm space to build big, bold, beautiful lives. Because guess what? Let's just be really honest. If you're waiting for peace and quiet and for things to calm down, you might as well hang up your towel right now, baby doll, because shit's not going to get easier. Today's episode is called Buckle Up, Buttercup. Chaos doesn't disqualify you, it's going to initiate you. And I mean every word of that, because what the truth is that you might be sitting in the middle of your magical mess right now. And that is the thing that's going to help you level up. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not something you have to escape. It's actually your initiation. It's actually your superpower. And I'm going to walk with you through the stories, through the decision by decision that you have to make sure that you make the most of this moment, because you might be in the middle of your chaos. And in spite of that, you're going to find your magic. Let's go. Let me take you back to a time when I was having the triplets. See, I remember when I first had the girls, they were born super preemie. If you don't know, we have triplet girls. They are 4 years old today. They are healthy, thriving, vibrant little chaos terrors that run around our house and are bold, brave little girls. Love that about them. Love that about you. However, they were born as micro preemies because they were born at 28 weeks and 1 day, which if you want to do the math is about 6 months pregnant. So they were just under 2 pounds. So of course they were in the NICU. We spent 3 months of our lives in the NICU with our daughters, living a separate life from our son. And for whatever dumbass reason, I chose to not only stay in work mode during that window, another episode, another chaos story, but I also chose to grow during that window. And I was in a coaching company with a friend of mine, Bruce and Ken, and we were growing that company. And there was a guy we wanted to bring on, and we needed to interview him. We wanted to interview him as a coach. And I remember holding one of the babies in the NICU. She was, barely even over 2.5 pounds. Her skin like silk, just little wires everywhere coming off of her. And I'm breastfeeding her in the NICU, and the curtains pulled, and I've got my little earbud in, and I've got my cell phone up, and it's sitting here on the table beside me, and I'm holding this tiny fragile little baby, trying to help her learn how to latch, which, sorry if you're squeamish, but babies breastfeed. NICU ones too. So I'm trying to help her do this. And at the same time, I'm going through an interview with this man off camera on Zoom while I am helping my baby infant, it was Savannah, learn how to breastfeed. And I hear one of the nurses in the background on the other side of the curtain go, is she in an interview over there? And in my ear, I hear the interview going on, and I can't help but laugh. And I have to explain to the gentleman on the call, I like, listen, you guys both know I'm in NICU with my babies right now, and the nurses just busted me holding an interview. And I got to tell you, I'm in a weird moment right now. I'm in a chaotic moment where I'm trying to make it all work, and my life is leveling up, and opportunity is knocking on my door, and growth is accelerating. And I felt totally in my calm. But what someone else might look up and see as ultimate chaos, I felt as my calm. Why? Well, I had breastfed before. Why? Because I had already spent a month and a half in NICU. Why? Because my lead NICU nurse, Diana, was an absolute like superhero and had taught me everything and was like rock star. So I felt like super mom at this point. Thank God for NICU nurses. If you are one, God bless you. You're doing the Lord's work. And at this point, I'm also like building this coaching company, and I feel really competent. in my ability to not only guide and lead commercial real estate agents, but in my partnership with my partners, and to identify a good commercial real estate coach. And so we're talking and I'm doing all these things and I feel fine. But it was in the pause where I hear a nurse who doesn't know me and I don't know her, just absolutely gobsmacked that I am doing an interview in the NICU. Maybe she didn't realize I don't have my camera on, right? And it just hit me that what might feel like chaos in someone else's world for me felt like calm. And I still look back at that story and I think that when you look up and you think you're in chaos, that could be your brilliance, because that moment that felt like chaos to her felt calm to me. But there was a different moment in my life that absolutely would have felt like chaos. Before the girls had been in NICU for over a month, that moment would have felt absolutely like chaos. That moment of just even having an interview in my ear. I mean, think back before COVID. Did many of us like even really do nearly as much on Zoom as we do now? Not really. So that might have felt like chaos. Having triplets alone feels overwhelming. Having a baby in NICU feels overwhelming. Having 3 of your 4 children in the hospital at the same time can feel overwhelming. And yet, through the time on task over time, the initiation of living through each, through being in hours of each, through longer periods of time, I was able to plant for myself seeds that I was now able to harvest success through, because what might feel like chaos to someone else was now my calm. Where someone else might tell me to slow down, do less, play smaller, be calmer. For me, was a moment that started to become a bit of my origin story. And I can look at that moment and I still see just the boop little light bulb that went off in my head of like, wow, I can do just about anything I want. And it hit me so beautifully, overwhelmingly hard that I almost started crying. My tears welled in my eyes and I felt it and it calmed. And that was the moment I realized that chaos would never disqualify me. It was going to initiate me. And when I say it initiates me and it initiates you, I mean it gives you the capability to say, I am now redefining a new foundation of where my calm lives. It initiates my capability to be in this space under terms I define and I play by. It was a moment that I realized, and I want you to know, I was comfortable in. And no one was allowed to take that from me. No one's allowed to take it from you. That moment could have so easily become a detour for me. But instead, I made it my freeway. Instead, I made it the path that I said, I can manage this level of movement, this level of decision making, this level of ownership. And while someone else might take the detour, I said yes. And that freeway led to massive acceleration for me. And it was the moment I told myself, buckle up, Buttercup, we've got a big life to build. Big life to build. And that's where you really start to realize that waiting for life to settle down, darling, that's just a trap. Every time we tell ourselves it has to be calmer, it has to be smaller, it has to be less, it has to feel more comfortable before we can go do something that demonstrates our brilliance at a higher level. Well, that's a bullshit idea. Because at the end of the day, if you're waiting to play in your brilliance in a smaller format, you're living in a contrarian idea. You don't need quiet to grow. You just need commitment. You need commitment from yourself. You need commitment from your willingness. You don't need more time. You have all the time in the world. I developed a few years before the girls were born, really. I developed this mantra. Mantra, as one of my dear mentors in my life says. I developed this mantra in my life of there's plenty of time for everything that matters. Because we can let time become this overwhelming thing, right? We're like, oh, I just need more time. If I had 1 more hour in the day. And we create this like narrative for ourselves that time is somehow this like burdensome thing that if we magically had more of, we would be wiser with it. But if we misuse the time we have, well, we're going to misuse it if we have more. That's like saying, okay, I love me some Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream. And if you're eating any other vanilla ice cream, I care about you enough to tell you, you are eating the wrong ice cream. Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream is the only right vanilla ice cream. Come to Texas, I'll let you try it. It's fantastic. It's so good. And so that would be like saying, I need more Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream to make better decisions about how much I put in my bowl at night. That's not true, right? That's just not true. And so if I'm making poor decisions about the time that I have, having more time would not make me have better decisions. And so waiting for life to settle down is a trap, because you don't need more time. You need better decisions about the time that you have. And you don't need to be ready. You need to be willing. You need to just be willing to start, to let it be messy, to let it be bold, to let it be half afraid, half scared, but damn it, just start anyway. To let it be something that those around you look at you and have a judgment about. And thank God they do, because if they didn't, you'd be playing small. And so I want you to think about for a moment. And I almost want you to make an exercise out of this. Like, take a piece of paper or a Post-it, whatever you got around you, draw just like a circle in the middle of like the word waiting, and underneath the word trap, right? Waiting and trap. And then on the paper, draw lines coming out from that circle. Put everything that you are waiting for, that you are putting a pause button on, at the end of the line. And on the line, I want you to write, what is it that has you waiting? What's the reasonable reason you're telling yourself, I'm not doing that yet. I'm not in motion on that yet. I'm not willing to get the fuck out of my own way to go do that yet. Because see, when we start to give ourselves that visual, then it starts to really stare us back in the face, and that hurts. That hurts, because when we can actually see what we are waiting on in our life and the trap that we are creating, no one's doing it for us. Be crystal clear. No one put what's on that line for you. You wrote that down. And whatever's on that line is your choice. And so if you're doing that to yourself, well, why? You just have to be willing to start. So if you could just simply maybe erase that line altogether and disconnect what you've been waiting for from the trap that's in the middle, and instead just start, just go. I can build this. If I can build that, then I can build through anything. If I just started going, then I could go through anything. If you just started, half scared, messy, bold, who gives a shit how, just go, what would it look like? I think there's this truth, right? We've all been fed this lie that self-leadership has to look and feel like a clean desk. Self-leadership has to look and feel like a perfect closet. Self-leadership has to look and be a pristine car all the time. And your purse and your bag must be all well-groomed. Like if you can't see my face right there, I just blew a giant raspberry with a thumb down, because that is where we as women, especially, and for anyone else listening, it's true for you too, but women get so judgmental on each other for this shit. It's where we create these impossible traps that we can't get ourselves out of. And it's where we build ourselves a lie that we must escape all the chaos before we are allowed to go do something exciting. Everything must be pristine before we are allowed to go do something that is meaningful, that's purposeful, something that defines who we are and what the hell we were put on this earth to do. Because it might feel like chaos, but darling, if the purse is a mess, who gives a shit? Leave it at home. Take your keys and your wallet out and get moving. Go buy the Bluebell ice cream anyway. Did I say that out loud? I might have. Can you tell I'm craving some Bluebell? I'm all hormonal today. But here's what I want you to know, right? In the middle of that chaos, when things are not perfect, when your life is not like a cute little TED Talk with a bow tied around it, but it's actually real, I want you to know there's 4 things that your chaos is teaching you. There's 4 things that I really believe it teaches us that are vital. I'm going to give you the 4 and then I'll talk you through them, right? The first is it's boundaries, It's voice, it's clarity, and it's resilience. Boundary, voice, clarity, and resilience. And let's go through these. My chaos teaches me boundaries because without it, I'm not going to be able to show up and define what I'm willing to stay inside of. When I think about the boundaries I put around myself, when I think about the way I want to behave in my business, behave in my family, behave in my personal life, in my health, then that means my chaos has to stay inside certain lanes. My business has to stay between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. No exceptions. My personal life turns on 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. It gets to bleed wherever because it's family before everything else, right? But I put up boundaries around where things are allowed to go, where chaos is allowed to spill. Because if I didn't, then I'd be one of those crazy people that's doing work all the time. And you might be one of those crazy people. Knock that chaos off. That's called lack of boundary. And that lack of boundary will destroy things you care about. But my chaos has taught me that I've got to actually put some guardrails against it, or it's going to destroy things that I care about. And by the way, those same boundaries I put up will protect me from other people's chaos. That same boundary that I put up is where I can define some of my standards and I can outline them. I remember a season in my life where I just felt like I was dropping the ball everywhere I went. Everywhere I went, I was screwing up as a mom. I was screwing up as a business owner. I was screwing up as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend, as myself. I just felt like there was nowhere I was winning. And when I inspected it, it was because I was letting all these chaoses spin all over. They were just like running into each other. And as I started to just say, okay, I'm going to first fix my relationship as a mom and as a wife and as a friend and as a daughter and as a sister and as a relationship with myself and with my health, then the chaos got put into specific places. And my chaos taught me that when I put boundaries up inside my life, I was able to not have everything pristine and perfect. It didn't have to be perfect, but it did have to live inside some defined spaces. So my chaos taught me boundaries. The second thing your chaos will teach you is your voice. And by voice, I mean that you're going to have to learn how to respond and react. There's going to be moments in your life where you have choices to either collapse into the drama. In my house, we call it the drama llama, because, if you haven't read the book, red pajama llama, whatever. There's a llama book with pajamas, red pajamas that you read to little kids. I haven't read it in a hot second, clearly. It's really cute, but we talk about the drama llama. No more drama for your mama. No more drama, little llama. So we talk about the drama llama in our house when our kids are having hissy fits. Dude, are you being a drama llama? Yes. Okay, well, don't drama llama me. And so when that drama llama enters your life, you have the decision to either collapse into it or step into a leadership voice in your life and to own how you're going to respond, to own how you're going to let people talk to you, to own how you're going to talk to other people. And that's your voice. Because see, sometimes chaos is going to come banging on your door with some ugly messages. Sometimes chaos is going to have your toddler laying on the floor having an absolute drama llama hissy fit. And sometimes chaos is going to have people saying shit to you that you just know ain't right. And that doesn't mean that you say ugly things back, but it does mean that you discover your voice for how you take a stance for yourself or a stance for others, how you take a stance for what you believe in, what you know is right, what you trust in your heart of hearts. And that voice is vital. Your voice was put on this earth for a reason, and the chaos around you will teach you how to use that voice. Now, if it's trying to teach you and you choose not to, that's a damn shame. So I hope when your chaos shows up, you're choosing to pick up your voice, choosing to learn how to identify it, choosing to learn how to refine it so that you are using it for its best and highest purpose. But your chaos will teach you your voice. The third thing my chaos taught me was clarity. Because when I can't define what's really happening with my chaos, well, then I'm just living in constant fire drills, right? We have to choose clarity over chaos. When chaos shows up, I have the choice to say, I'm just going to run through whatever it is it's throwing at me, or I can pause and say, I need to clearly define what's actually coming to me, and I have the power to deal with what's in front of me. And I can develop the clarity of how I will manage it, how I will behave with it, how I will react and respond. And all of that is inside my choice. But I can't do any of that until I leverage some clarity. And clarity is such a beautiful, powerful thing that when you put it to use, when you really unleash it and you just pause and settle down with it, and you start to let clarity qualify your voice, you start to let clarity amplify your voice, you start to let clarity lean in and really like trim those boundaries up. Girlfriend, shit gets really cool. It's really good because you always have that choice. You can choose clarity over chaos, and you have the power to put that inside your hands and work with it. Now, the fourth thing that you learn from chaos is resilience, because guess what? Chaos is not a one-time exercise. Chaos is one of those things that comes back again and again. And just as we evolve and we change, so does the chaos that surrounds you. Whether you're leveling up or down, the chaos around you will too. If you are devolving into things that are more chaotic, messier, more damaging, the chaos around you will start to do that as well. If you are evolving into things where you are leveling up, you are finding growth, you are finding gratitude, you are finding evolution, you are finding financial freedom, you are finding mental freedom, spiritual growth, your chaos is going to thrive in those areas. And your chaos might be through rapid growth, which is stretchy, and that shit can get hard too. Just a very different kind of hard. You get to choose which one you have. But both of those are going to require resilience. It's going to require you to day after day make the decision to deploy your boundaries, your voice, and your clarity to manage the chaos that comes at you. And through that initiation of living in that chaos, you again are defining what's normal for you. Is it normal for you to sit in a NICU with a baby and hold an interview while going through breastfeeding? Maybe. And I hope it's not. I hope for anybody that that experience is not what you get to, but maybe that level of chaos is. That level of shit the world is throwing at you, but may it not be so crazy, right? May it be so big and so opportunistic and so stretching that you are at that same level. I want that for you. And I want you to test that level of chaos, because that's going to be where you really start to see the full potential of how far you can go. There's this big like culture movement right now of this like do your best attitude, right? And I think that the shame of it is, and not shame like poo-poo on it, but like the man, that's a bummer kind of shame of it. The shame of it is that it makes a lot of us settle. Like, you know what? I went out and I did my best. But what happens is sometimes people who are already playing at a really high level start to think that that high level, which is their new bare minimum, unfortunately, is self-care, and that that's good, and that that is what is okay. And to a point it is, but then we shelve our growth. We shelve our ability to witness what could come next. And I personally believe in accountability more than the idea of I did my best. And to me, accountability means I constantly am pushing. Could I do just 5% more, 10% more? Can we go harder? And some examples of that might be, you know, I coach a lot of women in industries that are male dominated, and they come out and they're frustrated with, you know, colleagues that maybe got more attention in a meeting or in a product that they wanted. And so they come back and they share what happened on. And I look up and I hear them talk about it, and I say, did you speak up in that meeting? Well, no, I didn't. Okay, well, then you can't blame the room. You have to blame you for that. If it's something where you look at your week, you didn't get the goal that you wanted. If you hand over your time to chaos, You just let it go. Oh man, I just lost track of time. The week was wild. I had a client that dragged me all over Kingdom Come. Well, that's handing your time to chaos. You can't really call that fate. It just happens. Those weeks come. I'll get to my goal next week. There was nothing I could do. I hate that phrase, by the way. If you coach with me and you ever say that phrase to me, whoo, child, buckle up. We don't say that in my world. But when that happens, that's where we're throwing our hands in the air. We're letting chaos take the wheel. That's a horrible thing to do. And that means that we chose for chaos to lead. We let our boundaries slip. We let our standards and our boundaries go. We let our voice not be heard. Another example where a voice may not be heard and where standards get slippery. Maybe you told someone, sure, I'll help you out with that. And now you begrudge it. Think about that. How many times have you said, no problem, I can do that? And then you begrudge it. Dear PTO moms, Patty, can you make the cookies for that event? Sure, no problem. And then you're at home and you're making the cookies. Well, Susan asked me to make the cookies and I don't want to make these damn cookies, so I'll make the cookies. Those cookies taste like shit, Patty, because you didn't want to make them at the end of the day and they were angry cookies, right? If you say yes and your soul is screaming no, that's not boundaries. That's betrayal to yourself. And that's when we are stuck in these moments where we are letting chaos take the wheel, where we are letting chaos play big versus say that we are allowed to do what we need. Now, that's not me shaming on you. Let me be really clear, because you don't need shame. You just need some ownership. You just got to own it. That is fierce accountability. Brene Brown has this great quote where she says, you can choose courage or you can choose comfort, but you cannot choose both. And baby doll, I'm going to tell you, courage looks messy, but it builds empires. And so when I hear people say, I'm waiting for the slowdown, I'm waiting for things to get easier, I'm waiting for things to be better, I just want to tell you that's never going to happen. And it's time to go. It's time to get started. Because you know what separates the people and the business owners and the women who scale and those who stall? It is the story we tell ourselves. Because we all live with the same types of chaos. We just have different narration that we give ourselves. See, some women are telling themselves that they have permission to be a mess and to go. And some people are telling themselves that. I don't mean to keep qualifying it like it's just women. But some women say, you know what, I'm tired. I can't. I'll wait. The house is a mess. I'll do it when I'm done with blank, when the kids grow up. God, grief, girl, go bet on yourself. Do it today. Which one are you? Because the words that you choose right now are going to become the life that you live. So I want you to really be crystal clear. Which one are you? Which one are you? Because your voice, remember, it's one of those things that chaos is teaching you. And your voice can't be an apology. It can't be a permission slip. It has to be your tool. And it has to be your megaphone. I see too many brilliant people walking into rooms like they need fucking permission. And let me just say it really loud for everyone who's listening. And even those of you that would put yourself as a wallflower in the back, you don't need to be invited to the conversation. You don't need a permission slip to participate in any of this. You are the damn invitation. You don't need to get invited to the table or to get a seat at the table. You are the table. So stop negotiating like it's waiting for something. You already have it. You just have to start using it. And for those of us that are already, playing the game, but you're softening your landing, stop softening your email until it sounds like a Hallmark card. Stop whispering your genius. Shout that shit out loud and demonstrate what you mean, who you are, and how the hell you intend to play. Because you don't have to wait until it's perfect, and you don't have to play to make someone else comfortable. Your voice is your value, and your chaos might be your brilliance. You've had that all along. There's this one time I walked into a boardroom of all men, and I'm sure that's true for many of you who are listening right now. And I was definitely outnumbered and underestimated, and I didn't shrink. I didn't sweeten it. I didn't soften. I led the damn meeting. And you know what happened? I walked in, I took the seat at the head of the table that none of them had the courage to sit at. Why? Because I was the most prepared in the room and I knew it. I knew my stuff, I knew my value, and I knew that I would outpresent every single one of them I was competing against. And so would you. And so I want you to really take to heart the reality that your chaos is ready to unleash something powerful, something that is worth witnessing for you. And look, I love a good vision board, but if you slow down your steps to go create a mood board on Pinterest or go make a vision board, I'm going to seriously ask you to knock it off, girlfriend, because you need to just get into action. Build the life. Don't just imagine it, right? Get into the space where even if your first attempt is awkward and ugly, you did it. You went. Even if your kid interrupts the phone call that you took a swing at, you made the call. Even if no one claps when you sing the song or you got on stage or you did the dance, hot damn, you did it. There's this one woman I follow on TikTok. I'll have to find her name. And I will track it down and I will mention her in the comments. She's this older woman that during COVID got on TikTok and started dancing. And I have followed her for the last few years. And I mean, she started out and she was kind of cute going to these dance classes and she was doing okay. But now, my God, she's out dancing half of the 20-year-olds that I see on TikTok. And she's doing these group, they'll put Millennium Dance and things where they play a number and it's a dance crew doing their thing. Oh my God, this woman absolutely slays. And that was a woman who so easily could have said, my chaos has passed me by. I'm too late. I've missed the bus. But instead, she said, screw it. I'm going to stir up a little bit of chaos. And look at what it's doing for her. So I want to leave you today with your messy, maybe in progress. I want to put your messy in your hands. I want to get your hands dirty. I want to get you in motion because nothing is going to shift until you do. So I want to give you a journal exercise. I'm going to ask you some questions and I want you to do these on your own. And I want you to just think about these, write it down, send them to me. If you want to talk it out, I'd love to get into a coaching conversation about it. But here's a journal prompt. It's 4 separate questions. The first one, what's the current chaos that you're in the middle of? What's the current chaos that you're in the middle of? Number 2, what's the story that you're telling yourself about that chaos? Number 3, what's the one thing you can take ownership of without blame right now? And number 4, what boundary or system would change everything if you committed to it today? Now, here's the deal. You're going to journal those, and I want you to come back to them every week. This is not a one-time fix, right? Leadership is a lifestyle. Growth is a lifestyle. Getting messy in your chaos, darling, that's a lifestyle. Giving yourself wake-up calls is a lifestyle. It's a choice. To live in the brilliance of your chaos is a lifestyle. And I pray to God you take it. I hope you adopt it. I hope you maximize it. I hope you live in it in such an audacious way that the people look around you, look up and ask, how the hell does she do all this? How the hell did they do all this? Because that's a brilliant space to be in, and I want that for you. Now, if this episode punched you in the gut a little bit, good. I wanted it to, because I love you so much that I don't want you to sleepwalk through your potential. You have something to build. You have something to lead. You have something to create. You have a voice to be shared. And by God, it won't be quiet. It won't be easy, but damn it, it is going to be worth it. So if no one else has told you lately, you're not crazy. You're just in the middle of your calling. You're just in the middle of your calling. You're not behind. You're just being built. You're not broken. You're just becoming. Darling, it's time to buckle up, Buttercup. You've got work to do. That's it for today for this episode of the Alicia Shepherd Podcast. If you felt fired up, called out, or deeply seen, do me a favor. Hit subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Follow me on Instagram at Ask Alicia Shepherd and check out the full version on YouTube, where you'll find more behind the scenes, tough love, and tools to build the empire you were born for. And if you're ready to step into your full voice, your full rate, your full power, then baby, buckle up, Buttercup. We've got an empire to build.